Good morning, everyone. I want to say thank you for joining us here today. What a beautiful day in Seattle, and what a great day this is for the city of Seattle. We know that we have to continue to act with urgency to address our housing and affordability crisis. We have to use every tool we have, and we have to look for more tools. And I'm really excited to be here today. I'm going to be introducing some of the people who are here. You're going to be hearing from them and from Speaker Chop. I want to call out two people, one who couldn't be here, and that's Councilmember Teresa Mosqueda, and the other is Frank Chop, who you'll be hearing from. Teresa Mosqueda and I were on the campaign trail at the same time, and we heard each other say how many times it was that how important we had to work against this crisis of housing affordability. And one of the things we have to do is to put our public lands to work for the public. We have to use all the tools we have, but to make sure that when we have lands that are available and suitable for housing, we find a way to use them for that. And I have to thank Speaker Chop, who you're going to hear from, and I'm going to thank him some more in these remarks I'm going to deliver. But his leadership on this issue, I talked to him before I was elected and immediately after I was elected, about what are the range of things that Seattle can do to really get ahead to attack this housing affordability crisis. And he had a range of them, and one of them was, how do we make sure that city-like properties owned by the people can be used for the people? And there was red tape and technicalities that got in the way of that. Well, he was able to introduce a law to get that changed so that we could use land like this for affordable housing. So I want to say that as part of my Housing Now plan, we will be transmitting legislation for the disposition of 2 surplus city-like properties to create 27 permanently affordable ownership opportunities for low and moderate income buyers. One of the sites is located where we're standing here today on Phinney Ridge. It's a great neighborhood, a high opportunity neighborhood, and we're going to make sure that more people can have access to this. The other is going to be in Loyal Heights, and we will provide an exciting opportunity for affordable home ownership right here in North Seattle. We also know that we can't do this work alone. It's thanks to our partners who have the experience that we're able to announce incredible opportunities like this one. I'm really pleased to be here today with Habitat for Humanity, who stood with me in other places at Fort Lawton and other places in the city where they're creating that ability to have home ownership. They will receive $720,000 to create 8 family-sized townhomes on the Loyal Heights site. And Homestead Community Land Trust will receive $1.5 million on the site we're on here today to develop condominiums. Those condominiums are possible not just because of the law passed for city-like properties, but also because we're able, through the leadership of the legislature, to make sure we change the condominium laws to make it more attractive to build. We know that there's too few home ownership opportunities for low-income families and moderate-income families. And home ownership, we know from the data is clear, is one of the ways that people can build wealth to lift up their families and the next generations. We know it's one of the ways that people can live in communities with high opportunity and build for themselves and their families that American dream that everyone deserves. And this site and the other sites will give more people that opportunity. City Light will transfer these properties to the nonprofit developers at no cost so that we can afford to build this housing at a price that it can actually be affordable long-term for families of lower means. Again, I really want to thank Teresa Mosqueda for her leadership on this. Not only did she talk about it on the campaign trail, but she worked in Olympia alongside our lobbying team, who are here today too, and I want to give a special thanks to Lily, who led that effort, and to everyone else, to work with Speaker Chop and to work with our state Senate delegation and others to make sure we got this law passed. And Teresa Mosqueda was there on the front lines, and then she introduced the legislation to make sure the city of Seattle could be the first in the state to take advantage of that law. And that kind of transfer that we're doing today would not have been possible without those efforts. I also, again, just really want to thank Speaker Chop. You know, he dedicated many, many years to seeing that we had housing for people before he got to the legislature. He really was a visionary who knew how important housing was to human integrity and dignity and to making sure that everyone had a place. I was able to be at the groundbreaking for Mercy Housing. He was key to that. At a project we have at DSC, he was key to that. He's a person who has been committed throughout his career to making opportunity for housing available for everyone. And for that, I want to give you now Frank Chop, the former Speaker of the House, the permanent jewel here in Seattle.
Did you say permanent jewel?
Permanent jewel!
Name tag? I don't know. Jeez. Well, thanks very much. Thanks, Mayor. This is great. I really appreciate people showing up today because this may be a small site, but it's a big idea. And so we are replicating this on many, many other sites. But I want to say that this is particularly a perfect example of creating homes for people if we work together and get creative. We're very proud of passing House Bill 2382. That was back in 2018, which basically enables this transfer to happen at no cost so the housing can be affordable. And for the 27 families that are going to be directly impacted, it'll mean the world to them. Because we have a lot of jobs, last time I checked, in Seattle, but there's few places where people who work here can actually afford to live here. This will help in that regard. I want to thank State Representative Cindy Ryu from Shoreline. She was the prime sponsor of the bill. I want to thank the mayor for granting the funds to these two fine organizations. I also want to echo what she said about Teresa Mosqueda. We worked very closely with her to get the effort through the city council with the proper wording and that kind of thing. And the other thing I wanted to let you know is that we've got a lot of other sites that we're doing this with. King County's making land available for free for affordable housing out at Northgate for hundreds of units of housing. Sound Transit has made available 3 sites at, in many cases, at zero cost or low cost. And it's just one of the many ideas that we have coming out of our Home and Hope project. I'd like to recognize M.A. Leonard and James Madden who are here today from Enterprise Community Partners. We partnered with them for a Home and Hope project where we're identifying major pieces of property throughout the region for affordable housing. That's the housing for the home part of it. And for Hope, we're also placing early learning centers and community health clinics there together. So you'll see more of these things, but it's just one of many ideas we're partnering with the mayor. We really appreciate all her great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And of course, really, this is all about the people who are going to live here and the people doing these projects. I'm now going to hear from Brett D'Antonio.
Thank you so much to Mayor Durkan and Speaker Chop for supporting Habitat's proposal for our Loyal Heights project. As the mayor alluded to earlier, home ownership is more than just stable shelter. And as you'll see on the shirts of some of our Habitat volunteers behind me, we believe that through shelter we empower, meaning that owning a home is the primary catalyst for economic mobility and advancement, particularly for underserved populations. Historically, across our country, owning a home has been the single largest influence on the accumulation of wealth within a family. Today, unfortunately, home ownership is out of reach for generations of Seattle families. With the actions taken by the city today, we are continuing to change that. Our 3-bedroom townhomes that will be built in Loyal Heights are the starter homes that this market can no longer afford to produce. Modest income families that currently rent will be able to buy their first home, put roots in their new community, engage civically, and most importantly, build equity to invest in the future of their family. When a family sells their home, if and when, it will be sold to another income qualified buyer, making these houses available to not just one family, but generations to receive those economic benefits. So on behalf of Habitat Seattle King County, our board, and most importantly, our volunteers, I want to convey my sincere thanks to the city for their investment in our project. Thank you very much.